Hey y'all, welcome back. I'm TV Designs, and I am here to talk about the moment I realized I was destined to be an educator. Now, a lot of things start, pretty young, but I can honestly remember I did a pre-K teacher that looked like me. And then when I was fifth grade, I had a teacher named Miss Babcock. I'm not making it up. She was so beautiful. She was a single mom and she had a daughter. And the dynamic alone was absolutely beautiful. Um, she was just so beautiful, so creative. Like I remember um her putting on like I think it was like a Dr. King celebration. And she was just so hands on with us and you could tell she actually loved what she did. Um and it was always a great balance there. It was always okay, we here to work, but at the same time, we're gonna get a little fun and whatever like that, right? So fast forward, when I went into my undergrad program at Norfolk State University, shout out the whole green and gold. Um, I ain't gonna lie, at the beginning, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I had changed my major a few times or whatever, and the one that I remember staying in the longest, of course, was social work, which made sense and it kind of fit who I was, always helping people, always trying to be there and all that, yada, 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 smack, 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 smack. But when I realized I would have had to do too much, like literally, it did not fit my lifestyle. I did not have 40 hours to dedicate to well, it was more than 40 hours. I forgot how many hours to a practicum. And in my opinion, I felt like the program was really, really, it was designed for a person that did not have children. And at that time, I was working. I was working full time, going to school full time, and trying to parent. And so I just needed one that was a little bit more easier, that I didn't have to do all those extra clinical hours and things of that nature. So I found out about transferring into interdisciplinary studies, and what that does is under liberal arts, and it gives you an opportunity to dually study different topics. So while my main study was liberal arts, and liberal arts generally gives you a combination of things, and I was able to transfer the credits that I already achieved. Well, how am I going to part and look at this at the same time? Anyway, so going into education, the program itself was amazing. I liked it because one thing I can say about NSU, there are certain schools that people will, come from, the neighboring states. Their kids will come here, just like Hampton University. A lot of their kids are graduates of Hampton University because, well, that's a private institution, but because of its reputation in education, right? NSU was basically the same. Um, the nursing program, a lot of people went into education program. Um, I can't think of the other ones, but anyway. So my favorite professor was Matilda Martin. In that moment, in that season of my life, I had never seen a person. The last person I've seen that passionate about education. And I'm not gonna hold you. Was Miss my fifth grade teacher, like Miss Dr. Martin, she absolutely loved her job. And low key, I'm not gonna lie, she was like the first black person I had ever seen in my life that made me comfortable with loving to read and just being myself. Anyway, because she was, she was a little bit older, and baby, she would come in there. She didn't wear no fake hair. She didn't put no wigs on her head. Dr. Martin came in with a double breasted suit sometimes. No, she was dressed. I take that back. She was always dressed very nice. Baby, she did not, that hair, she wore her hair. Like, it was straight some days, it was better than others. But she came to work, and she was well versed and well educated. She did not uh come to play. She knew her stuff. If I had to give if I had to give an analogy of her, she, in my opinion, was like what a sister of Frankenstein, like a sister. I'm talking about not Frankenstein, Einstein. The level of knowledge, wisdom, and education all in one. Okay, so for the school of education, she raised the bar. She really did, and made me think of things so different. She taught so much in that time frame, and at the time, I thought that knowledge was supposed to be used to go into the traditional, education sector. Because a lot of people have to understand, when you are around people that have been conditioned to go get a job, that is the process. So with that being said, you know, um, this state has way more licensing stipulations as it relates to, like, your credentials got to be like, it's so much you have to do just to teach. And what a lot of the young people will do that came into the program that were from different states, they never had a plan on teaching here. They will go, like, while you're in the program, depending on how far you go in the education program, you have to start taking your tests. You have to start taking, the practices one, practice two, whatever, whatever. People will go back home. It was a lot of people that were from Maryland. They would go back to Maryland and take the test, because they didn't have to go through all the loops and hurdles or whatever. They just needed their degree. So here I did not go through all of that, but I did move to Georgia, and I took the practices one and two, which is called the GACE. Um, while in the education program, Dr. Martin was very helpful, because at the time I had a student that I was getting ready, and they was in pre-K, and they were really, really advanced in skills. Um, it gave me the opportunity to, I guess you could say, prepare them even more. I remember bringing them in. I remember once I learned something, I would use that strategy, and it really, really helped for the academic time in that time of my life. So, and a lot of people feel like, because a lot of teachers, they'll go in, they'll have the skill set, but they don't have the testing. And that's one thing I've noticed. I've actually even seen people go in and be able to teach for many, many years, go from different districts and still have their provisionary license because I don't know if they're having an issue with time, not being able to focus, comprehension. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, like I said, um, the thing about it was so many people were so focused on the traditional routes of what they supposed to do and use the education that they learn how to do grammar part. I don't even have a part anyway. I just finished washing my face, so it don't matter. So with that being said, in those early phases, I want to say maybe 2 years after graduating, this was back in like 20, no, maybe '09. I think I did spend a little bit of time homeschooling. And that was the first time that opened my eyes to what it would look like coming outside of the traditional classroom. Because when I was down in Georgia, I ain't gonna lie, it was a hot mess. It still is, if you're very lucky. And a lot of people have this, I don't want to say it in a bad way, they have a preconceived, um, I'm just gonna say it's been learned that when you go to certain places, they say, oh, this district is better, oh, that district is better. Generally, no, that's not the case. The district generally caters to certain people, and we're just gonna be honest about it. I probably have to cover that in a whole nother video. But so with that being said, you have to really look at the curriculum for your state. Go pull it at the Department of Education. You can go to their website. They will show you what is being taught. They will show you that way. If it's things that you feel like are missing, you can supplement and come in between. What I think is starting to happen now, I got fed up back in 2019. There are more people starting to really see the veil is being lifted on what has changed, and I'll probably go in some more depth in another video about that. But they're able to really see, and I even had this conversation with an educator recently where they said there is so many words, it has turned into a daycare center. And that's a harsh reality. But that's my time. See y'all later. I'm just gonna get myself to